Hello, and welcome to the So You Want to Be a Marine Biologist podcast, where we learn about the ocean, share sea stories, and explore ocean careers. I'm your host, Kara Muzia. Let's dive into today's episode. Hello, mermaids, pirates, ocean lovers, and land lovers. Welcome to today's episode. Today, I'm interviewing Alex Ang, a sophomore at Macalaster College. Though she is an undergrad, Alex has already gained invaluable experience through internships. She offers excellent lessons for those who are interested in starting their career, whether it's in marine biology or another field. As always, there are tidbits for all ocean lovers in this episode. Alex's internships have brought her behind the scenes in zoos as a penguin caretaker, gained her access to groundbreaking research in a Columbia University lab, and more. Alex is also a bit of a book aficionado and has provided some book recommendations at the end of the show, so stay tuned for that. Without further ado, here's Alex. Alex, thank you so much for being on the podcast and welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
I want to start off with one of my very favorite questions to ask because I feel like it's a really great icebreaker. What is your favorite sea creature and why?
Got it. So I was thinking about this question a lot but like when I think about it, when people ask me, I always say jellyfish, and I'm even getting a jellyfish tattooed on me, hopefully this summer. Yeah, I just spend a lot of time. I think they're just really like overlooked sea creatures. They're very majestic and very complex, but they look very simple. And I don't know, ever since like I read about them, like when I was little, I used to read marine biology books, like those little encyclopedias and everything, and like look at the pictures and be like totally mesmerized by them. So definitely jellyfish, and I can't choose a specific one, but every time I go to the aquarium, I always look for the upside down jellyfish.
The Cassiopeia.
Yeah, so I love that. And also, if you want to read a book about jellyfish, you should read Spineless by Julie Burwald. It's amazing.
Okay, is that fiction or nonfiction?
It's kind of like narrative, like very anecdotes, but also a little bit of like science in it. So I would say nonfiction/fiction, but it's like easy to read. It's not like super jargon filled. And I think it just gives you this whole different perspective on like the importance of jellyfish, which I thought was really interesting because like if I'm gonna read a whole book about jellyfish, I want it to be like interesting and like filled with like anecdotes and stories.
Right. Yeah, scientific reading, even for scientists, can sometimes be hard to wade through. So it's nice to have some anecdotes. Wonderful. Well, I'll definitely put a link to that in the show notes for sure. But you said you're going to get a jellyfish tattoo, so you have to have selected one.
Well, I think, okay, so I basically just pulled inspiration off Pinterest, but the one that I'm getting looks like a lion's mane. So hopefully, I mean, I didn't intend to have like a specific jellyfish. It was just my love of the ocean kind of encapsulated in a tattoo, and I thought the jellyfish represented that really well. So yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. I'm
Also,
excited
kind
to
of
see
weird
it.
to get like an upside down jellyfish tattooed.
They are kind of funny looking. They don't look like a traditional jellyfish.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. You'd have to explain it all the time. Like people would be like, "What's that on your arm?" Whereas, a lion's mane is pretty much you can tell it's a jellyfish at least. You are in your undergrad at Macalaster University, and you're studying environmental science, but you have already had quite a lot of experience, internships at the Bronx Zoo, the Como Zoo. You said you had a research assistantship in Marine Bio Lab already. So could you kind of explain how you got these internships and what they were like for you?
Yeah, sure. So I feel like I'm studying it's actually environmental studies, so it's a lot of humanity based, and I think it very much veers away from science, well, science in the terms of like biology, and like a lot of the like being in a scientific laboratory kind of science. It's more humanities looking at policy, and I personally really like the side of policy in terms of like even marine biology, the subject, like creating policy for the ocean and its inhabitants. But basically, I wanted to go to undergrad. Macalester College was kind of like my dream school, but I was choosing actually between University of Miami and here because they have a really great program. But I just felt that the school fit me better. So I'm here for undergrad, but basically throughout high school, I kind of knew for sure that I wanted to do marine biology in undergrad and like as a career, as my career choice.
Okay.
And I guess when I figured that out, I'm the type of kid I Google a lot, and I guess I was just Googling like, I always like, even just on Google, I will go, like, marine biology internships because obviously something has to come up, and I would type in, like, my area, and things would show up. But in terms of, like, opportunities, I guess in high school, you get this kind of mindset that everyone's doing something, and you have to do something too. Like, there's academics, but then there's also the extracurriculars where kids are, like, getting stuff to put on their resumes or finding their interests so that they actually know where they wanna go for college. Um, so I wanted to explore things that weren't available at my school. Actually, interesting enough though, my high school did have a marine biology class.
Mm. And where
Yeah.
was your high school?
I went to high school at Bronx High School of Science in New York.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I
so
mean,
they had a marine bio
Bronx isn't
class.
like too far from the ocean, but you're not like right on the coast either. So
Oh yeah, when I
interesting.
for sure, and, like, I live in a suburban area in New York, so it's not really like I didn't go to the beach every weekend. I wasn't really exposed. Like, when people talk about their experience and why they, like, love nature so much, it's like, "Oh, because as a child, I was so immersed in it." But actually, I was in New York City, so, very urban. It was like I wasn't exposed a lot to the ocean, but I don't know, mostly my love came from, like, reading about it, and I guess when you're living far away from it, it makes you want to go there even more, and it's, like, more powerful.
It
Yeah.
ignited your sense of wonder.
Yes.
It
So,
does
yeah.
that. It does that for most people, even when you see it all the time too.
I
It's very
oh my gosh.
captivating.
I feel like it's nice to have, like, something to aspire to or, like, a dream like, when I, like, dream about being a marine biologist, it's like I'm dreaming about, like, going to these places and, like, seeing all these different creatures, so I guess that's something to, like, aspire to. It's, like, nice to have, like, something to look up to.
Absolutely. So when you say you want to go to these different places and see these creatures, what pops into your mind?
Definitely okay, I remember the first time though, this is, like, so contradictory, but the first time I went snorkeling, I actually, like, jumped into, like, the open ocean, and I had, like, a panic attack, and I'm like, "How am I gonna be a marine biologist if I can't even face, like, the ocean?" Because it's obviously a lot scarier in person than what you, like, read about and what you see. Um, but yeah,
It's
I don't
very expansive.
yeah, it's super expansive and, like, it's like you know what you know about the ocean, but there's also what you don't know about the ocean, and that scares me, and I guess I didn't realize that until, like, I was actually in the environment, and I'm like, "Oh my god, I could get eaten by a shark."
Did you see any sharks in your first dive in the ocean?
I actually did. I had my GoPro and we were filming, and then my GoPro was pointed down, but actually when I look back at the footage, 'cause, I posted, like, a vlog, and when I look back at the GoPro footage, there was a shark swimming under me.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it
Oh,
swam yeah, you can see it very clearly, and I don't know what type of shark it was. I still don't know to this day, but I would very much like to find out.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you clearly see the shark or is it just kind of the classical shape?
It's you can clearly see it, and it's kind of smaller, so I'm guessing like a reef shark. And this is in Florida, and I haven't put much work into it, but I feel like if I really looked at it, I could probably find out what it is.
You might have to send me that video. I'll have a look.
Yes, for sure. It's on my YouTube channel.
Okay, I'll go check out your YouTube channel. We'll see. We'll figure this out.
Mhm.
So, okay, so you with your first internship at the Bronx Zoo.
Yes.
Did you just popped into Google and was like marine biology internship in Bronx
Mhm.
and this popped up?
Well, for the Bronx Zoo, so I went to school in the Bronx and I was looking for something to do. I believe it was the year 2016. Yeah, during 2016. So I believe I was a sophomore in high school or a junior. I'm totally blanking out, but I wanted I knew the zoo had opportunities like as most zoos and aquariums, they have like internships or volunteer opportunities. And actually I mean not the internship, the opportunity that I found was called the Wildlife Conservation Corps. So it wasn't directly working in the zoo as like a trainer or working with the animals, but it was working with a group within the Wildlife Conservation Society, and we were specifically working on like microbeads and like communicating to the public like why microbeads are bad and getting a ban on it and how they can affect the ocean.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that first internship was mostly kind of like communication, with like hints of marine biology because we took a lot of trips. Like, we learned a lot about like the environment, the marine environment from like scientists and everything because we were like fighting for that. So we needed to know like the background. But other than that, that was my first experience, and it was kind of more like social media communication based.
Right. And it's interesting because it's also policy based. Now, what was the
Yes.
result? What was the result? You did these studies, you took these trips, you met with these scientists, and microbeads are a huge issue in the marine environment. Now, was there
Mhm.
a policy outcome from this?
I believe, well, okay, while we were doing the campaign, I believe something was passed. Um, and I don't remember what it is, but I remember that our whole entire program was the accumulation. In the end, we were trying to host a youth ocean conservation summit, which was at the New York Aquarium, and it was basically where like a bunch of youths came out and like did a bunch of like activities, and there were scientists there and the ways that they could connect. And I think definitely with like as being the arranger for these types of events because we were like young adults creating an event for young adults,
Hmm.
um, and opening them up to these opportunities where like it would be hard to find elsewhere.
Right.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. It's really special when you can create these outreach events and expose people to things that they have an impact on and may not even realize it. It's a really
Hmm.
special moment when you can do that. So, was this internship kind of pivotal for you? Like you really enjoyed the outreach and the education aspect, and was that what prompted you to kind of go into the more policy side of things? Because it's super important. Policy is an integral part of marine biology
Hmm.
or marine
Um,
science.
when I look back, I think so. I think as my first internship, I definitely enjoy I all my internships, I just have to say now, like I love to pieces. I think they all taught me something. And like I said in the beginning, I think what's good about doing multiple or like more than like two or three is that you get a taste of what you like and you don't like, and that can help you in like your future career. I think for me, it kind of actually steered me away from the education side. I know for sure, like through working with like the Bronx Zoo and like the Wildlife Conservation Corps, is that I like communication and I like communicating things to like the younger generation, but also empowering my generation. But
Mhm.
at the same time, I learned more about education too because we spoke to teachers and educators, and I like found out through that that I do not want to like go into that academia side or like teaching marine biology.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, finding out what you don't like is just as important as finding out
Oh,
what
for
you
sure.
like.
Yeah.
Just
Uh-huh.
cross it off the list.
Mhm.
So this internship was while you were still in high school.
Yes.
Wow, that's really impressive.
It was fun time.
And how long was this, did this encompass the rest of your high school career?
So this one was for 6 months. I
Okay.
believe I did it in the spring, like, semester, so I think it was from January, no, it was, like, November, and I think to, like, April or something. I don't remember, this is so long ago, wow.
Okay, that's
But
fine.
yeah.
So you were in high school for this internship. Now were
Mhm.
you able to get another internship while you were in high school?
Yeah, so wow. So I think it was my junior year over the summer, or during the school year, I was a field biology intern for the Alley Pond Environmental Center, and that was completely different because it had nothing really like direct uh, in line with like marine biology, but it taught me a lot about like it was see that one was like an environmental educator one, and I definitely found out that I did not want to do environmental education.
Cemented that and said, we're done there.
Yeah, I was like, this is like cool, and I like appreciate all like them teaching me like techniques for like teaching other people, but it was just something that I didn't personally enjoy.
Fair enough.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now you're in Minnesota for school,
Hmm.
and is that why you chose to work at the Como Zoo or get an internship at the Como Zoo?
So I thought that I when I was doing research too, again about like my new area. Whenever I'm in a new area, I always like do research about like cool. I just like marine biology stuff, and I just like look around for stuff, and I'm like, okay, we don't have an aquarium. What do we have that's closer to that? A zoo.
Okay,
And I
so when
thought,
you're online looking for this, are you just Googling like whatever
mhm.
city that you're in and science or like ocean or any like what are you Googling? What are you looking up?
Oh yeah, I'm just Googling. I'm literally going on Google, and this is what I also did for this coming summer. So this coming summer, I'm on the lookout for like new internships because I'm just ready to work, and also to keep in mind that these programs start accepting applications early in February, like January, February. So people
Mhm.
don't usually realize that when they're looking for summer internships because it's like, oh, it's like so far away. Like I don't need to hand that in until March and April, but they actually usually collect applications from like January or February. But I basically just go on Google and look up marine biology like internships in my area and look up the specific area. And now that I'm an undergraduate, I'm looking up marine biology REUs, which are research experience for undergraduates, I believe. I believe that's the
Great.
acronym.
So what would an REU gain you as part of being an undergrad? What benefit does that have for you besides just getting more experience? But any internship would do that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of my internships, I would say, I think every internship so far, except for the Bronx Zoo one, I actually don't remember, but most internships that I've taken on have been unpaid. And reason being, I know it's pretty privileged to be able to take on unpaid internships, and I know that as an undergraduate, like we should be getting paid for our like work and our for our time, of course, because we're also busy people. We're college students trying to get a degree. But I also feel like um, the ones that don't pay, it's like they can't pay. Like it might be a startup or like low income, like most of these jobs. So I personally don't mind, and I feel like I get more experience because um, usually when I'm being paid for something, I usually tend to like have a different mindset for that job, and I'm thinking that like I have to like put all my actually where am I going with this? I don't know. That's a whole different conversation about like unpaid and paid internships.
No, and it's an important one. So I would
Yeah.
like to expand on that a little bit because
Mhm.
in my day, when I had internships, they were paid for the most part.
Mhm.
I mean, definitely volunteered quite a bit. I volunteered during my undergrad. I volunteered several times during my undergrad with different places, but I did
Mhm.
have paid internships during my undergrad, and it seems that the tide has shifted. And I do think that funding plays a huge role in that. Um, Absolutely. And I also think that internships have changed quite a bit. So if they're able to pay you, it might be some grunt work that like they don't really want to do. It might just be data
Mhm.
entry. Whereas if it's an unpaid internship, you might be able to there might be a little bit more compassion for you because you're donating your time.
Mhm.
So you may have more opportunities given to you. I definitely feel like that's the case when I've seen that. You just you realize that everybody has finite amounts of time and they're donating their time. So you want to make it more worth their while and maybe you get an extra experience or two out of it. Is that something that you've noticed?
Yeah, this is actually going off of that. This recent internship, the Como Zoo one, it actually put me like, it made me really think about like paid internships, and that kind of the dichotomy, because Como Zoo is actually a free zoo, so like
Mm,
anyone can enter and it's free, and I believe it is state funded. So I know that they don't have as many resources as like say the Minnesota Zoo where you pay like $25 for entrance as an entrance fee. And the Como Zoo does take donations, but as I said, it's donations and you're not paying a fee to keep it operating. The state is.
mhm,
So I don't know how the funding works behind the scenes, but actually during my internship, I thought because it wasn't paid, it was gonna be in terms of like like it's a stereotype. Like if it's not paid, like it's gonna the value is gonna be less. But actually, that was probably the most I've ever learned in an internship at the Como one where I wasn't paid because they really made me do the work and made me take so much responsibility, and they I learned stuff there that I will never learn like in school or in any other internship that I've learned before. And that was me working directly with the animals and getting an experience that like I should be like
mhm.
people like, you know, yeah, the normally a person would pay for, but you know.
What were some of the responsibilities that you had while you were working at the zoo?
So I feed the penguins and the puffins.
Oh,
Um,
fun.
and yeah, I know it was great. And then I also one thing I was responsible for was the enrichment, and enrichment is kind of like ways to like enrich their daily lives, like whether it's like putting something new in their environment, like putting sensory things. Like I made like wind chimes out of bamboo, and I put them in the penguin habitat. And I think those kind of things, like watching the behavior of animals and seeing how they interact and how that can like aid into like us knowing more about them and like how to like write more conservation to the conservation side, like appealing to the general audience.
Hey, Kara here. I hear it all the time. How do I become a marine biologist? Or my niece wants to help the ocean. Where does she even start? I hear from students, yes, and also nurses, HR professionals, and other mid career folks who wonder if they could still make their dream of working with sea turtles or sharks come true, wondering if it's too late to answer the ocean's call. Here's what I've learned after 20 years in the field and hundreds of interviews. There's no straight line, no magic degree, and no gatekeeper. You create the path forward. If this sounds overwhelming and vague, I've created 2 tools to help you stop wondering what if and start moving forward with clarity and purpose. The first is my free guide, Be a Marine Biologist Without the Degree. Over 1,000 people have already downloaded this guide and taken their first step towards ocean impact. Inside, you'll find 7 concrete, doable actions to help you get started, whether you're just exploring or ready to make a change. Then there's the Ocean Blueprint. This is a 30-day self-paced course that helps you build your unique path into ocean science and conservation without quitting your job or going back to school. Inside the Ocean Blueprint, you'll get daily prompts to explore your interests, skills, and next steps, a structure that turns overwhelm into real momentum, and a bonus section to root your work into ocean connection. You don't have to wait for a degree, a perfect plan, or permission. Whether you're wading in or ready to take the deep dive, these tools are here to help you move from dreaming to doing. The ocean called. Are you ready to answer? Links in the show notes and on my website, karagracemuzia.com. I can't wait to see the waves you'll make. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you bring up a point that I definitely wanted to talk about today.
Hmm.
Zoos have a little bit of a controversy behind them. On one hand, and it's actually both conservation related. So on one hand, you have zoos are wonderful because you have these wild animals like penguins and puffins, or I saw they even had a snow leopard that you would never see, right?
Hmm.
And one thing with conservation, you tend to protect what you know, protect what you love. However, the other side, and so you're exposing people to something that they would never have seen before, and hopefully engaging them in a way that would make them want to protect the earth or protect this particular animal because they may have formed some sort of bond or compassion for it.
Hmm.
But on the other side, you have, it's a wild animal and it's in captivity, and there's all sorts of controversy around it. So,
Hmm.
what was your experience working at the zoo with these kind of different mindsets?
Sure. I think to begin with, when I took on this internship, I think the Bronx Zoo was kind of different because I wasn't really working with the animals, so I never was in like an animal habitat. I worked in like the offices and was working to create policy to like save animals.
Hmm.
Um, but Como Zoo was really completely different because I was a what is it called, marine animal intern, and I was directly working with the animals. Um, so that completely changed my view. I think for starters, it's not lost on me that like these are animals in captivity, um, and it's not natural. But at the same time, as someone who's looking towards the future and like policy and like conservation, I know definitely most of the animals that we were working with could not be uh, introduced back into the natural environment because they were harmed in some way and they were hurt and they couldn't be like if they were to be put back into the wild, they wouldn't survive. So that's another point that some people don't take into account. But I think
Hmm.
also in terms of my experience, I was actually completely baffled. I had heard, of course, everyone goes into like when they hear about zoos thinking about only the worst things because of like what has made headlines and like what is being told. But actually, I was working under, I believe, wow, I'm forgetting, like 5 to 6 different zookeepers, and they were all women. And what I saw was this bond actually created between the zookeepers and the animals, where it was like a very motherly and like familial kind of relationship that was forming here. Like the animals, like knew, like when one zookeeper would come near the door, one of the like animals, like I'm talking about the penguins here, but his name is Cupid, and he would run towards the door because he knew that she was there. And every all of these animals have like their own personalities, and the zookeepers know that. Like they keep track of their personalities. It's like a real relationship rather than just like a job. Like they come here every morning, especially in Minnesota, and Como Zoo's open 365 days a year, like wind or snow. I remember we had a polar vortex where it was like -40, and the zookeeper still showed up. And I was there too, and we were still taking care of the animals because we genuinely cared for them rather than it just being like a mandatory thing and like for doing it for a job.
Hmm. It's
Yeah. So that was just my experience.
No, it's a great behind the scenes and a great
Mhm.
insight to that. So one other thing I want to highlight about zoos and aquariums, I'm going to lump
Mhm.
them in there as well, is that they tend to do a lot of more than just the displays. They can be rehab facilities. So SeaWorld has kind of gotten a bad name recently because of blackfish and having
Yeah.
cetaceans in captivity. However, I have definitely worked with SeaWorld um, as a partner, and they do sea turtle rehab, they do manatee rehab. They have a lot of programs that do good for wildlife, and they truly rehab and release. Not
Mhm.
everything's like kept in the aquarium. So I did want to highlight that. Did the Como Zoo have any of those programs, or was it strictly more the exhibits and caring for those creatures?
I don't know much about like what Como does. I know definitely because of their like limited funding. I don't know if they do like campaigns. Actually,
Mhm.
they do some campaigns, but I know that they also, other than just the exhibits, we actually had like weekly talks. They're like polar bear talks and like seal talks and no, sea lion, sorry. And then there was also penguin talks where someone would be outside, and they also let me kind of get into that too as an intern, like me as a young adult talking to other children and young adults as well, and talking more about the conservation side. And people were like very intuitive. They were like, oh, what can we do? And like the children, of course, when they see the penguins, they kind of are like, I want to protect these too. So they were also asking questions. And I definitely think that this whole conversation with zoos and aquariums should never end. um, and I think that right now a lot of people, especially people who are not behind the scenes and are uneducated about like what goes on, kind of like fall back to like what the bad things are. But I think that we just need to keep the conversation going and like improve settings and do our best to like educate other people about, what the good things are and like the rehab, like you said.
Absolutely. Great
Yeah.
points. So I want to circle back to getting
Mhm.
internships and your REUs. You brought up a really
Oh
great
yeah.
point that I want to highlight again. The time to be looking for internships is now, and you apply over your Christmas break. That's your break
Yep.
because
Mhm.
because you truly need to be applying in January, February. So I thought that was a really good point that you brought up. Um,
Yeah.
and if you're thinking spring break, oh look, you're not going to get anything, or if you get something, you're going to be
Mhm.
like bottom of the barrel.
Hey, I learned the hard way. I was looking at internships, and because basically every summer since I started working at Lamont, which I could talk about too, but I basically have been falling back on that one because it's like they're welcoming me back, and it's just such a nice place to work. But in my search for like new internships, I wanted to do something new last summer, and actually I did it over my spring break, and I saw that all the applications had closed, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, what? It's summer's like so far away. Like it's in yeah. So definitely keep in mind.
Yep, your winter break, that's the time to look for internships
I
and apply
know.
in January. Yeah, let's chat a little bit about Lamont. And does this tie into your REUs? And how does your REUs tie into
Mm-hmm.
your education?
Sure. So, yeah, Lamont, where do I start? This is probably the most life-changing experience,
So
internship experience of my life. Yeah.
let's start with what is Lamont and where is it
Okay. Sure,
located?
sure,
And then
sure.
what's your experience with it?
So the Lamont Earth Observatory, wait, yes, okay. The Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory is a Columbia University affiliated like laboratory where like a bunch of these scientists work under Lamont and Columbia, therefore. And it's located in Palisades, New York or New Jersey. It's literally on the border, and I never know where it is. It's like literally, there's a sign that says when you drive past, it's like "Welcome to New Jersey" and "Welcome to New York," and I'm always so confused.
All right, so
But
it's in
yeah,
York, Jersey. We'll just call it
mm-hmm. Yes. So
that.
it's in Palisades, York, Jersey, and I worked with they have a marine biology department, like a building, and I worked in the marine biology building under the mentorship of Joachim Goes and Helga Gomes, and they're two oceanographers, marine biologists who have just done some like amazing research um, on algal blooms in the Arabian Sea. And I was just at this experience. Basically, they worked in like a real lab, and there was like incubators, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm a scientist. Yeah.
So, are there huge algal blooms in the Arabian Sea? Why are they studying this?
Ooh, okay. So,
We're gonna
well,
test your science knowledge a little bit.
yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit. So, actually, what's unique about this lab and why I was so interested was because they're studying a mixotrophic species called Noctiluca scintillans.
Okay,
And yeah,
what's a mixotrophic
okay.
species?
What's a mixotrophic species? It's basically a species that can obtain nutrients by photosynthesis, but also by consuming like other organisms. So think of yeah, so like we think of plants, but also kind of not a plant because it can also eat other organisms and get nutrients from that. Um,
Perfect.
so yeah, Noctiluca scintillans basically at that point, I think still now, they were the only lab in the entire world who was able to culture this mixotrophic species from the Arabian Sea in their laboratory setting.
Hmm.
Um, and therefore they were basically pioneering all the research about the species. One that people don't know much about. It's an invasive species, and people are just very like there's like so little research about it, and therefore people don't know how to stop this like potentially dangerous species.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where is it native to if it's invasive to the Arabian Sea?
We were studying I know the original sample they got was from the coast of Oman.
Okay.
And I know very little about where the original sample came from. I just know that we have a laboratory supply. Oh my God, it's like so cool. They're so cool because they're like one of the largest like dinoflagellates. Like you can see them with your naked eye.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's really
Have you heard of them?
interesting. I haven't. No. I'm learning
There's
right now. That's
I know.
exciting.
I actually the way I found them was that um I was basically looking up a bunch of professors potentially to work with and reading up on their research. I know Google, the power of Google.
Hmm.
And I came upon them and Lamont. And this was after getting rejected by so many other like people because obviously people are reluctant to hire like a high school student, especially because I was a sophomore in high school and I was looking for a laboratory internship. Uh, so I was just reading up on these like bios, you know how they have their like bios on their school website, and I stumbled upon Helga Gomes, and that's who I reached out to first. Helga and Joachim, they work together as mentors, but I emailed Helga, and then I got a reply back from her, and then basically my email. So setting up emails, especially I think like cold emailing, oh yeah, this is another thing that I want to talk about too, like tips on how to find internships is definitely cold emailing. I think
Hmm.
like an advantage that we have as students is that like at this day and age people like want to hear from students. They want to hear like the input of young adults. Um so I use my like power as a student and I'm like, "Oh, I'm a student at like the Bronx High School of Science. I'm looking for internships. And then I wrote like this whole paragraph about their work and kind of analyzing their paper that they had put out about noctiluca scintillans.
Mm-hmm.
And I could tell that she was really surprised that I had read that and that I had spoken about it, because she emailed back saying, oh, like, very interesting to hear what you think about it. And then would you like to come in for an interview? And then at the interview, we talked a lot more about what I thought about the paper too. So I think that's really a key point, is to like mention things about their own research or about what specifically you're interested in, not just like an inquiry email being like, I'm interested.
That's a really great point, to
Mm-hmm.
because cold emails can be effective. However, you
Yes.
have to show that you are actually interested in this person, not just
Mm-hmm.
scattershotting a hope of an internship somewhere and not actually
Yeah.
doing your research. You need to actually do your research. That's a great point. So, what are some of your
Actually,
responsibilities? What's that? Go
oh, I
ahead.
was gonna say, I was gonna say, for people who don't know, I cold DM'd for to be on this
You did.
podcast. So
You
that is
did.
just an amazing example of like, if you're afraid to do it, just know that no one's gonna do the work for you. Like, you have to go out there and do it. So yeah, I was like, oh, this podcast is so cool. I just really, really want to be on it as an aspiring marine biologist. And I just DM'd on Twitter. I mean, not on Twitter, on Instagram.
On
Yes.
Instagram. Yes.
Yes.
And you had listened, and why I was interested, you listened to the podcast, but also you've had some really great experiences even as an undergrad. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
why I thought you would have value for the audience. So it's a great DM and a great point that you bring up with reaching out, because you know
Yeah.
what? The worst thing that could happen is, one, people say no, or two, you get no response, and then you're no worse off than you were if you had not reached out anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, for sure.
if you get the yes, then it was totally worth it. So it's always worth a
It
shot.
literally changes your life.
Yes. Great points you're bringing up. So you mentioned when you reached out that you also find internships for your friends, which I thought was really funny. Actually, I laughed.
Mm-hmm.
And interesting. So how do you find your friends' internships? Do they come to you, or are you just like, you know what, you're going to be a really great fit. I got you. I'm going to find something for you.
Well, I think, since just talking about like me myself as a person who likes to go out and Google random things and search for myself, I find it truly, like, I'm intrinsically motivated by um finding things for other people, and just I am a someone who thinks experience trumps like knowledge, and like, well, experience is knowledge, and you're getting
Experiences.
so much experience. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're getting so much experience that you can't get just from sitting in a classroom, and I think that's super important. So I always like to push that on people.
Mhm.
I know I'm kind of just like, you got to go out and do stuff. I'm kind of like the just do it, like, do that kind of thing. So, but I also know personally how hard it is for people to go out and do it, because A, they're too busy, because they don't know like the tricks of the trade, or like I said, like when to apply or whatever. So I take it upon myself personally to like remind them, or even just to do a Google search for them and like lay it out right here. Like, here are your options. You just have to apply.
Are these always marine science or environmental related
Hmm.
internships, or or you have friends that are like in the marketing world and you're like, no, I got you too.
Actually, no, it's actually no, no, no. Yeah, they're not. I feel like I don't really know any. Sadly, don't know any of my friends that love marine biology as much as I do, or like want to pursue it in the future. But I definitely, with my sister, like, I have a twin sister, um, and she
Fun
goes to
fact.
Parsons. Yeah, she goes to. Fun fact: she goes to Parsons in New York. And she is also kind of like me. I mean, we're twins, but we both kind of have these study find internship sessions at a coffee shop, and we'll literally just sit on a computer, look on Google, like type in stuff on Google, and then like list it. um so what I'll usually do is like, we'll look at things for each other. So I'll look at it for her and she'll look at it for me, just in case I like overlooked anything. And just because like, it's always nice to have the perspective of another person, like, know what you're capable of. So like,
Mhm.
me looking stuff up for my sister, like, she probably didn't think to look up some things because she didn't think she was capable of it. But me being her sister and seeing what she's done, I know her capability. So I'm looking at internships that kind of have those eligibility rules, or like things that or like I said, like, she doesn't know what she like wants, so I like look up things that might interest her, but she didn't know that she was interested in, and then I would show her and she'd be like, Oh, this is actually really cool.
I love this concept of
Hmm.
a internship like study sesh. It's not
Yeah.
even and you really created your own support. Well, you kind of had a built-in support system, but creating that
Hmm.
support system of like, you know me really well, I know you really well, let's do this. And it's something that you could even do like over Skype, right? Like you could
Yeah.
hop on a Skype call with a friend if you don't have anybody locally and be like, all right, what do you want to do? What are your strengths? And like get on and I really like that idea a lot. I think everybody should do
Hmm.
it with,
Yeah. Do with me.
yeah. I'm gonna hit up
Yeah.
Alex, do a strategy
Yeah.
session with Alex.
Yeah. I have like an email. So basically, I think it was actually like the beginning of this year before school even started, I was looking up REUs that happened this past summer and that had been completed because obviously your next assumption would be that they're looking for people for the next summer. So I
Mhm.
looked at the completed ones and I basically drafted myself an email. So I'm that kind of person who sends themselves emails like with reminders. REUs, literally it says REUs to apply to next summer. And I have it. I also put like a what is it called? Like a scheduling draft where you can send it a specific date and like it's gonna
Mhm.
send like during my winter break and I'm
Mhm.
gonna see it. I'm gonna be like, oh my God, I have to apply. But yeah, it was basically just a compilation of all like the internships that I'm interested in, that I was interested in last summer, and that I should be thinking about for this coming summer.
That's a great idea. There's
Hmm.
all sorts of wonderful technologies that you can like send reminders to yourself later.
Yeah,
Calendars are great reminders, or sending
yeah.
yourself a scheduled email. I use Boomerang a lot. It's great.
Ooh, boomerang.
Boomerang, if it works on Gmail, I don't know if it works for other servers, probably, but it
Hmm.
works really well for Gmail.
Hmm.
Well, you have offered quite a lot of nuggets for people that are looking to get out into the internship world or even the job world, because a lot of your techniques and tactics are really applicable in looking for jobs even. So
Hmm.
that's great. What is one of my other favorite questions to ask is what your favorite field story or stories to tell is. And
Ooh.
for you, I feel like it's going to be what's your favorite on the job story? So you get to pick from
Hmm.
all your myriad of experiences and
Ooh.
and it can be like the best day, like you just had the coolest interaction with an animal and you can't even believe that happened, or uh, like a penguin threw up in your face and somehow you swallowed it. And like it was really awful at the time, but like now I'm telling a really great story.
Hmm. Yeah, oh my God. Okay, I have my I think I think by far the best one would definitely be when I was at Como Zoo and I actually had to learn the names of all the penguins and just be able to distinguish them on the spot because they actually have different diets because some had like medicine they had to take and I had to make sure that I fed them correctly. And I think that prime moment when I had remembered all their names and I was in there with the zookeeper and she was making sure that I like it was kind of like a test to be able because until you know all their names you don't get to feed them alone so you don't get to like be there without a zookeeper. So I think that
Mm,
moment when they gave me the thumbs up and they were like, oh, I just remember that day. They were just like, you're good. And then I fed them. Until then, like for the next 5 months, I was feeding them by myself and like creating like a bond with them.
mhm.
And every time I go back, it's just like such a rewarding moment.
That's
Yeah.
really special. And is the
And then I
reason why you had to memorize their names is so that you wouldn't underfeed or overfeed certain ones? You kind of had knew which ones you were feeding.
Yeah, that and also some of them have medication, so we pill the
Mm.
fish and then you have to directly hand feed them the fish because if you just leave it in the like bowl, the chances are they won't eat it and therefore they won't get the medicine that they're like is crucial for them.
Right. It's like a dog with peanut
Yeah.
butter. If
Yeah.
your dog won't take a pill, you put it in peanut butter. Chances are they'll take
Yeah. Yeah.
it.
I also have a
If penguin
worse
won't take
field
its medicine,
story.
you put it in a fish.
I also have a worse field story that I'm really excited to share.
All right, let's hear it.
All right. All right. So I was invited by the Wildlife Conservation Society. This is like a once, like I was like so thrilled. After my internship with the Bronx Zoo, I was kind of like in their system and they asked like people who wanted to go. They were teaming up with OSearch. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
I have. OSearch is incredible to follow. They
Yes.
tag white sharks.
Yeah,
Everybody should go
so
check them out.
so they're they invited us on this like special. So they were in New York. OSearch was, I think, on the coast, and OSearch was teaming up with the WCS, and then WCS invited some like youth alumni back. I think it was a group of like 7 of us, and they said, "Do you want to go on the boat and help with finding sharks?" And I'm like, I was this opportunity is just amazing, but it goes downhill. Don't worry.
Don't worry. It sounds epic. Wait a minute.
I know. It sounds great. That was how I felt too. And so basically they took 7 of us, and it was like a 2-day trip. Like they paid for like our meals. We drove up from the city to Southampton. We'd spent an entire day together as a group, like hanging out, stayed in this hotel, and I had like my roommate who I still talk to this day, even though it's just for 2 days. And then the morning of, we arrived to, I forgot where it was exactly, but it was somewhere in the Southampton. We arrived to get on the little boat. Well, like, what are little boats called, like, to get to the big boat? Some kind of transport boat.
A tender? Is that the
yes, word? A tender, yes. Okay. And on the morning of the trip, it was canceled because the sea conditions were too turbulent, and they couldn't get us out on the tender to the large boat because it was pretty far out of offshore. So it gets better. Oh, it gets worse. So then, because we were all super sad, and WCS was like, "Oh, they're so sad, they don't want us to leave without an experience," we decided to go on a whale watching boat. Do you know where this is going?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm along for the ride right now.
So some people in our group end up getting seasick. And also, this is my first time on a whale watching boat, but I thought the people said it was pretty common for people in the back to be vomiting off like the back of the ship. Yeah, so there was just a bunch of vomiting and puking, and that basically was our day. It was very interesting. Yeah.
Oh, did you see whales at least?
No, we did not.
Oh, you got skunked on the sharks and the
yes,
whales.
we did.
Oh.
Yes, we did. It was such a whirlwind.
Yeah. Well, a fun story and an interesting day on the water.
Yeah, it really reels people in. They're like, first they stop me. They're like, "Wait, what? You got to tag sharks?" I'm like, "Oh wait, no, not yet."
No. It was dangled tantalizingly in front of me, and it didn't.
Oh man, but yeah, OSearch, super cool stuff that they do, especially on their Instagram. Wow, like just
their Instagram is amazing.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It really is. I will put a link to that in the show notes as well. It's incredible.
Yay!
So before we wrap up here, you are a bit of a book aficionado, and I love that because I'm a total self-claimed book nerd.
Ooh.
And you were mentioning before we started recording that you had some marine bio book recs or ocean book recs, and you mentioned the jellyfish one earlier.
Do you have yes. Oh, I'm forgetting the name. I have to like go on my Goodreads, but the jellyfish one, definitely. I can give you a list after this that has a bunch of the recommendations.
Okay.
Also so many like environmental books. Okay, there's this environmental, it's not really environmental. It's basically a young adult book, but that uses this environmental issue of like droughts in California and water scarcity, and it uses it as the plot of the book, and basically it's kind of just like, I feel like it's propaganda, because when you read it, you're just so scared. You're like, okay, we need to like do something about this. And it's like fictionalized, so it exaggerates everything, but to a point where it's so realistic. Like you're like, okay, this has to be real. Like this has to be something that could happen in our future. So yeah, I will definitely give you a list of those. I can't think of any now, but that book that I'm talking about is called Dry by Neil Shusterman. Everyone has to read it. It's amazing.
All right. I haven't heard of that one. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
And I will definitely get the list. And like I said, put it in the show notes. I'm very curious what your recommendations are.
Yeah. Oh my God. So many good. I feel like the best books are usually, I feel like sometimes when I look at a book and I know like it's marine biology, it gets, I have to like, there has to be a balance of like narrative, like fiction, and then like nonfiction. Like it can't just be nonfiction all the way, or unless like I can just read like scientific articles.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like we chatted about earlier, science is lovely, but sometimes it's a little dry to read. Even scientists have a problem with it. So it's lovely when you can put some sort of anecdotes or narratives in it to keep it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And like make it applicable for like a general audience who like usually doesn't have a very like advanced scientific knowledge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. So we emailed back and forth a little bit before getting on,
Mm-hmm.
and I always like to put an ask for the audience at the end of the show. What is your ask? You had a really great one.
Oh man. Oh wait. I have to get it. It was not. Oh, I was not prepared for this. Okay, I have it. All
Okay.
right. So my ask is after listening to this episode, what's the one thing that you can do to help achieve your career goals? That could be anything from like maybe sending out like one cold email a week or just like doing more research, like dedicating more time to do research. Maybe perhaps we suggested a coffee research study date with somebody or a friend, that could that's good. But yeah.
Absolutely. That's a great ask. Kind of gives people,
Mhm.
we talk about branching out into the community, but what's next for you and how can you better yourself
Mhm.
or move your career along? I love it. And you
Yeah.
had lots of gold nuggets in this episode for how to do that.
Mhm.
Excellent. So what's next for you, Alex?
What is next for me? I have no idea where I'm going. I have a bunch of I have that email that I have to go back to at the end of this semester about RAUs that I should apply to. But at the end of the day, I know that I'm definitely passionate about marine biology and like I said, I'm just doing undergrad here, but in the long term I do have plans to go to like grad school, maybe at the University of Miami or like um oh, wait, actually, I next semester I want to study abroad um
Mm,
to this yeah, for this program called Sea Semester and it's where they like
yes.
have you heard of it?
You live on a boat.
Yes, and
Yes.
it's like direct research, and I think the one that I want to do is research in the Caribbean. Yes, I
Yes.
believe so.
Yes. My friend she taught
Mhm.
on a semester boat in the Caribbean a few years
Oh my
ago.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so yeah, I forgot about that, but I haven't applied yet, so.
Awesome. Well, I wish you luck with that. Everyone I've talked to from the program
Mhm.
loves it and raves about it, and it's going to be a lovely experience for you. Um, what I didn't even ask you, how far
Mhm.
along are you in college?
Oh, I'm a sophomore.
All right. You got a
Yeah,
ways
I
to go.
know.
You get more internships under your
Oh
belt.
my God. Honestly, I'm very excited for like being a college student gives you so much power because it's like I feel like it's the prime. I feel like high school I had a lot of opportunities, but as a college student, like it's where your people are mostly looking at you because they want your input and they also want to I mean the young adults. So, yeah.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to see where you go and what's next for you and follow along in your journey. If the audience wants to connect with you or follow along, where can they reach you?
You can reach me. You can reach me on my Instagram. I definitely because I run like a Instagram account that I do a lot of work on. Like you can easily DM me there, just like I DM'd for this podcast.
Hmm.
And yeah, if you're ever looking for someone to help out with internship, like looking for something, I know it can be really hard at first and it's kind of overwhelming because you see all these, you get kind of bogged down by seeing everyone get these amazing opportunities and you're like, okay, your immediate thought is like, how can I get that? But like, you don't really put in actionable um, time and like resources to find that. But definitely, if you need help with anything like that, I love doing it. It is like, it gives me joy.
That's such a wonderful thing that you can offer.
We need more of that in the world.
This is true. This is true. Well, I will put a link to all of everything we've
Hmm.
talked about and how you can connect with Alex in the show notes. It'll be marinebio.life/Alex. Alex, thank you so much for being on the show. This was an amazing chat, and I think people will get a lot of value out of it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm so glad there's things like this because I actually found this podcast from a marine biology account that I followed. I don't remember the name, but I think it's like Marine Biology Life. With like
With Dan
yeah,
Moore and Emily Cunningham.
yes, and I like they were on the podcast and I'm like, okay, check out this podcast. And then I found out this whole system and I'm like, oh my God, there's like people that talk about marine biology like on social media. But yeah, so I just found out about it.
Awesome. Well, I thank you for listening and thank you for being on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And thank you for listening. We chatted quite a bit in this episode about zoos. If the zoo and aquarium world interests you, please check out the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, or AZA. I have a link in the show notes at marinebio.life/Alex. I'm currently reading Spineless, the jellyfish book that Alex recommended, and it's great. It's nonfiction, contains a lot of information, but it's an easy read. It was a really, really great recommendation on Alex's part, and it's given me a whole new perspective and appreciation for jellies and other cnidarians. We have an episode coming up where we chat about cnidarians, so stay tuned for that. Until next time. Thank you for listening to today's show. I'd love to hear any insight you've gleaned. Leave a comment in the show notes or send me an email over at marinebio.life. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a review and, of course, share with your friends. If you want more resources for ocean news, including conservation topics and careers, plus personal insight from me that I just don't share anywhere else, join me at marinebio.life and sign up for email updates. Keep after your dreams and making waves in your community. One person can make a difference. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time on the So You Want to Be a Marine Biologist podcast.